Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. I'd like to welcome everybody to the February the 7th, 2022 work session of the Limestone County Commission. Ellen, do we have any public comment?
We do. Brendan Andrew.
Brendan, if you don't mind, come up here to the microphone, please.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm here to speak on behalf of one of the resolutions for the tax abatement for the Athenian Sky Solar Project. I'm a representative from Duke Energy Renewables, so just wanted to say a couple words in favor of the resolution. First of all, thanks to all the county commissioners for getting it on the agenda and for working with me on it. A couple of benefits. The project will bring tax revenue to the county in the form of sales tax and property taxes, which will be more than 100 times the current use of the property. Furthermore, it generates that revenue without any additional county services. So unlike subdivisions or other growth that the county is seeing, there's really no requirement from the county to spend any money. It just is a passive investment, which will generate additional revenue. Second, it brings local clean energy to the northern Alabama region, which complements the Browns Ferry nuclear plant and the dams that TVA has on their river. It's a tool for economic development for TVA. They have a Green Invest program, which they use to attract new investment in the TVA footprint, so that companies like General Motors, Facebook, Google have all opened new plants using 100% renewable energy from TVA's Green Invest program. So that's the reason that they're looking at this project. And lastly, it'll bring local economic benefits. So there's 100 to 200 construction jobs during peak construction, which brings people who spend money in the community in Athens and in the county. And also 1 to 2 ongoing technician jobs, which pay above average annual salaries. So again, I just wanted to thank the Commission for considering the resolution, and I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
How many employees will it have after the construction? You said that. How many will they have?
1 to 2.
1 to 2?
Yeah, it's not a huge job creator on an ongoing basis, just because it's largely operates itself, but those technician jobs are, strong, good salary jobs. So.
Now, have y'all got the bids yet on that? Have y'all won that bid, or y'all still in the process?
So right now we're in the final stages. We're on the short list, and we're negotiating the power purchase agreement with TVA. And so we're being considered along with a couple other projects. We should be hearing by the end of February. So yeah, and if constructed, we'd be looking to build it in 2024. So start in 2023 and put it into service in 2024.
Well, explain to me then why we're having this today with this tax abatement questioning today if y'all still haven't gotten the. We kind of know, but everybody needs to know.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, no, I think the big thing is that it's become standard in the industry, really, for these projects to be granted abatements, and so we're at a competitive disadvantage to other projects that we're competing with, both across the state line in Tennessee as well as other counties in Alabama, where they've had their abatements granted, and they know exactly what their tax is going to be, whereas we are sitting out here a little bit exposed because we're not exactly sure what our taxes are going to be. And we could be paying more than some other projects, which would make us less competitive to TVA and less likely to be able to be awarded the project.
Any more questions?
I don't have anything.
And this is just a proposal to put together where they're throwing a package at TVA. It's what TVA explained to me when I talked to TVA about it.
Right.
Yep. And have any more? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ellen, do we have any more public comment?
We do not.
Thank you. All right, first on the agenda on the resolutions and orders. Number 1 on here be to approve a resolution allowing probationary employees who have not met all requirements listed in the resolution to have access to their paid sick leave available during their probationary period for no more than 40 hours of continuous work hours due to COVID-19, and I'll kind of explain this a little bit. If you're a probationary employee, you don't have access to your sick leave until you're off probation. And, for the ongoing part of this, they had that emergency COVID leave that you could apply for. Well, all this will do is will allow them to use the time that they have, if they have COVID. So it's nothing, it's like it's not for taking off sick or anything else. It's just because if you take a COVID test or you get quarantined, they don't have any leave. So, but they have it, but they don't have access to it. So it's not giving an employee something they don't have. It's just, and it will. If you read the resolution, it'll also go back to the day that the other was gone away, and back in July, I believe it was. So that's all it is. And anybody have any discussion with it?
I don't, no.
I mean, we didn't know. So Brittany brought this to our attention when she was going through this because they don't have anything. So anyhow, no more discussion. We'll move on. Second on here, it'll be to approve a resolution granting a tax abatement to Duke Energy Renewables Solar LLC pursuant to the Tax Incentive for Reform Act of 1992, Section 40-9B-1 of the Code of Alabama of 1975, which that was the gentleman just spoke on. Any discussion with the tax abatement?
Yeah, on this right here, I mean, I think there's still a few questions out there that I've heard. I'm not sure that do we want to go through with putting this on here today, or do we want to, ask some more questions and table this to the next meeting? What are y'all thinking?
Well, is there a time constraint? I mean, if we are able to put this back on the agenda in 2 weeks or a month or whatever, what does that do to y'all? Does that push you out of the scene, or?
I think, obviously, from my perspective,
You want it yesterday.
We'd like to get it
Yeah.
locked down
Last month.
and have a yes now, but there's not a hard constraint in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, for us, we'd like to just know where we stand, and so that we can figure out and make sure that we offer our best price to TVA.
Understood.
And so we're in the final kind of stages with a couple other companies, and so we need to know if we're going to be able to pass on some of those benefits to the TVA ratepayers or not.
Understand. The one thing that I know I would want to look at is normally when we have a tax abatement or we have any type of economic development like this, it's not your job, it's kind of our job to do it, is to look down and see, okay, we're getting this X amount of money for this property through the property taxes. After this happens, we're going to be receiving this X amount of money. Now, I wrote down 100 times what it normally is, and that's the way it is for just about any economic development thing. The price of the land increases tremendously, and what you have on it, you're going to make more money off of it. So I would like to maybe have that, just a number in front of us, and it's not as much for us as it is for the people that we're going to be abating these for, our citizens and stuff. We just want them to know this is what we're getting now, and this is what we're going to get later, plus we're going to get all this right here too.
Right.
So that's just a number that I don't know. I've done a few of these since I've been in office, and I just like seeing the numbers. And that's nothing against you or any of the landowners or anything. It's just a formality, kind of.
Okay, and I think we did pass that along to the county attorney, but I understand, yeah, and I can provide those to you. And
Okay.
make sure you have those at your fingertips.
That'd be good.
I know earlier than the year, or maybe at the end of last year when this all started, Bethany had put together a package and sent it to us all. I remember, and I know it's been an ongoing process for several months now. This is
Yeah,
not-
and when I just learned about this, I guess, Thursday or Friday, so, I mean, I didn't go back and look at my packet that I got. I don't know when it was, September, I guess it was when we met.
October, yeah.
October. So I didn't go back and look at that, so that's my fault.
There's a spreadsheet, I think, too, out there, and I'll make sure y'all have it.
That'll be good. That'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I know the package. I've seen the package several times, and they've had several conversations. I know that me and LaDon was on a teleconference conversation with them a time or two. So,
And tax abatements, you hear about that every time we have economic development and all that. So, and the positive side of a tax abatement is what you get down the road. The negative side is everybody gets mad because you gave somebody a tax abatement. But, at the end of the day, some of this is being done for the benefit of the future, not for today. So, but I just want to make sure we got all our T's crossed and our I's dotted and stuff, and we don't look like a bunch of people up here just swallowing the medicine, if that makes any sense. Okay.
all right. So, if y'all want to, everybody agree, we will put it on the next commission meeting. Is that fine?
I'm good with that.
I mean, we will vote it on the next commission meeting at the end of 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
That gives everybody 2 weeks, and that gives, thank y'all for being here.
You get to come back and visit Limestone County again.
So we're gonna remove the tax abatement with the request of the commissioners until the next commission meeting, and we will put it on the next commission meeting. So, all right, so strike that off of your agenda. So moving forward, we have contracts, agreements, and grants. Approve the following agreement between the Alabama Department of Transportation and the Limestone County Commission regarding the maintenance of school zone flashing signs on 99 Highway at Mount Pisgah Christian School. The Limestone County Commission will be the maintaining agency. This is some lights that we had put in for. We put in for these in Tillman Mill, and Michelle had reached out to our delegation about it, and our local delegation paid for these signs, and by them paying for them, we're just going to do the maintenance on them. So, any questions with either one of them? With the other one, we already was in our right of way, but this is on the state right of way. So we have to have an agreement with them to maintain them. So, any discussion with it? No. All right, no discussion. Moving on, we have one budget revision. To approve the following budget revision and maintenance, it'll be $7,800. Does anybody have any question on that budget revision? No question with that. We'll move on to award of bids. We have 2 bids here to award. First one is for business cards for carrier services, and the gas and diesel one has changed to Uz's. Does that sound like a good name? Uz's? Uz's Oil, which is Formula J&J Oil Company. They have, I know W.H. Thomas has had that bid for several years, and so this company here has won the bid at .21.5 cents over. I guess that's rack. I know it's always usually generally 25 cents over rack. So that will be the new gasoline provider for districts and all. So y'all need to get a contact for that. So. Any discussion with that? Either one of those bids?
Cheaper gas.
Yeah, it saves money. That's what it's all about.
That's what we want to do.
So anyhow, moving on with no question with either bids. Under personnel action, we have several today. I'll just go through them. We'll talk about them at the end if you want to. First one will be to approve to hire Bobby Clark as a facilities technician in the maintenance and facilities and grounds department, and that'll be effective February the 7th of 2022. The next one will be to approve to transfer Sheila Vickers from Community Corrections Administrative Assistant to the Council on Agents Senior Center Manager at Elkmont. Regina Pierce is leaving at Elkmont, and she's going to transfer up there on the 14th of February. The next one will be to approve to promote Nathaniel Scott Green from Corrections Officer to Deputy Sheriff at the Limestone County Sheriff's Department, and that'll be effective February the 7th of 2022. And to approve to hire Krista McCurry as a probate clerk 2 in the probate office department, and that'll be effective the 22nd of this year. And be to approve to transfer Blake McMahon from equipment operator 3 to signs and herbicides technician in the, they put all this long name on here, but it's in the engineering department. And be effective February the 7th of 2022, and be to approve to hire, to transfer George Hamby from Signs and Herbicides Technician to Equipment Operator 3 in the Paving Roads Maintenance Department, effective February the 7th of 2022. And to be to approve to promote Doug Watson to Signs and Herbicides from Equipment Operator 2 and Paving and Roads Maintenance Department, and that'll be effective February the 7th of 2022. And the last one on here will be to approve Coroner Mike West the ability to appoint a deputy coroner due to the deputy coroner David Malone resigning from his position as of March 1st of 2022. Does anybody have any discussion with anybody on here? And all right, no discussion. We will be moving on to merit increases. We have several merit increases listed below. Does anybody have any discussion with anybody on the merit increases? All right. No discussion with anybody on the merit increases. At this point, Mr. Massey, the engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have quite a few items to go over. Only one, that I think is on the agenda for action at this time. So I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. This is approving the following subdivisions. The estates at Piney Chapel Phase 2B. This is a minor for preliminary and final. adding 3 lots in District 1, north side of Piney Chapel Road, west side of Crutcher Road. Bowman Acres Phase 2, this is a major for final approval, 24 lots in District 2, northeast corner of Brown Road and Bledsoe Road intersection. And then Capshaw Grove Subdivision Phase 1, this is a major for final approval, with 78 lots in District 2, east side of Lipscomb Road, approximately 2,800 feet south of Capshaw Road. So that's all I have for your consideration at this time. I do have several other items to go over that I just want to make you aware of. One is I'm required annually to give a report of our Rebuild Alabama funds, how we spent them for the previous year. And so I've given all of you a copy of kind of our spreadsheet that we keep up with our projects, but for the public's benefit, we completed Black Road, Newbie Road, Snake Road, and New Cut Road for a total of 10.85 miles of resurfacing at a cost of $1,224,715.41. We, as far as what we brought in through our Rebuild Alabama and Federal Aid Exchange, we brought in more than what I had estimated revenue. We actually received $1,149,960.48 in Rebuild Alabama funding revenue, and then the $400,000 for our Federal Aid Exchange Fund. So that actually leaves us with $325,244.77 that was unspent because of an increase in revenue over what I had estimated.
I can spend it this afternoon. If you
Hey, good. That's what I was waiting on. So, but that's just kind of a basic report. Do you guys have any questions about our Rebuild Alabama?
What will we do with the $325,000? Will it go
We
into
can roll that into an additional year. We've already got next year's kind of set up. It can either be reserved for if we have overruns, because we don't necessarily have our asphalt bids yet. So we did run into that a couple years ago where our asphalt bids kind of shot up higher than what I had anticipated, and we had some overruns. So this kind of gives us a little bit of a buffer. Or if we continue, if we don't spend that next year, I can roll this into a future Rebuild Alabama paving year. So it'd just be additional funding for our Rebuild Alabama program. So it still falls under all the same rules and guidelines of the Rebuild Alabama program. So it will either be used to pay for overruns or potentially some additional funds 1 year in our plan.
And as you talked about last week, there's going to be a different location we're going to be going and getting this asphalt from, so that's probably going to figure into the equation too.
Yeah. So we do have some bad news about our local asphalt plant. It's going to be dismantled and moved to a new area within Rogers Group. So we're going to have to be getting asphalt from a different location. So that might require us to investigate some delivery costs and some things like that. There's several things that we've got to work through over the near future to make sure that we get our projects complete in a timely manner like we have planned. So there is the possibility of some overrun. So I'm glad we did have a significant underrun this last year.
Yep.
So that's the Rebuild Alabama report. Kind of segueing into that, last week there was a bill that was introduced into the Senate, and it passed committee that ACCA has some concerns about, and I think that rightly so, especially with as much money as we're spending on our roadways right now with Rebuild Alabama coming into place. It's Senate Bill 157. This Senate bill, if it were passed, would allow log trucks, if equipped with certain weight sensors and things, to exceed the current gross of 88,000 pounds and go to approximately 100,000 pounds that they could haul on our roadways. So with NCAT, that sounds like a small percentage increase, but NCAT, based on their information, they said that's like adding 50% more trucks to your road by just increasing by that small amount. So ACCA has asked that I bring that kind of to y'all's attention And they have also provided, if you want to add to the agenda, they have provided a kind of sample resolution to pass that shows that y'all are not in support of this bill, that y'all would like our legislators, if it comes up for a vote, to vote no. So like I said, it came out of committee last week. And so I don't know. I was just kind of bringing that out there to you. So Ellen does have a copy of that sample resolution that just kind of states some of the basic facts about what this would do to our roadways, and that we request that our legislators not support it. So it's up to you guys whether or not y'all want to add that to the agenda.
This had to have come out of South Alabama.
The logging industry is the one that's supporting it.
Yeah.
Pretty much every year, the logging industry attempts to get some type of an increase in their gross load. This time, they were pretty smart. They kind of masked it as a grant program, so people can make donations into the logging industry. And that they can then we could apply for grants for bridges through the logging industry. That they would help. But it can have up to $25 million in it in a year. Right. But I think statewide, $25 million wouldn't touch the damage that would be created. I think the state of Alabama said that if they had to go back and re-rate their bridges, but that currently a truck, like a log truck, a 6-axle log truck, they have 7 bridges in the state that wouldn't be rated. But if they had to re-rate their bridges with this new weight limit, it would be like 370.
Wow.
So it's that big of a difference. So $25 million won't touch that.
I think effectively what it does too, it lets a logging company transfer 25% of their income taxes from the education trust fund to this fund. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yeah, they would be able to, up to $25 million a year, they could make donations, and it could be transferred, essentially take that out of the income tax pool that the education trust fund is currently reliant on, and put it over into a nonprofit organization that turns around and gives these grants out. So it would take money from the Education Trust Fund. And so there are senators and representatives that are concerned about that in speaking with them. But it also creates this exemption for their trucks that would allow them to go up to 100,000 pounds on our roadways and bridges too.
Well, it's a no-brainer then. Do we need to go ahead and put this on today, or?
That's up to you guys. Y'all control the agenda. I'm just bringing the information to your.
I think it needs to be put on today.
No, it wouldn't exempt any other trucks at this time. But if one industry gets it, that they're
the rest
all
of
going
them will be on it next.
Start trying to go after that same exemption.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's nothing necessarily to stop it other than the state legislator just deciding it's not going to happen.
So it's already out of committee. I think it's
It
already
is
on
out
the
of
agenda today, so they could fast track it and pass it in a week. So we need to do it
If we're
today.
going to pass a resolution, we have to do it. We need to do it on this meeting. Okay.
And I would for it.
And ACCA reached out to me, and I did call. Abby called me, and I called Tim Melson about it, and I've called Tom Butler about it. It's just one of those things that, one bridge in this county would devastate us as far as financially. Yeah. And there has been a situation in Limestone County where a truck has fell through a bridge. In Limestone, the river bridge at Sportsman's Park collapsed with a trailer truck loaded with lumber in the 50s or 60s sometime. Yeah, if we had, if you had that situation, that would be.
Well,
that
look
25 million would not be.
Before we got Mazda, Toyota did. Right
Yeah.
on Old Highway 20, right. And it was $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing is, I think the cost. The potential cost outweighs the benefit of this grant program that they're trying to establish. Yep. So, like I said, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. So, like I said, I apologize for hijacking the conversation, but this is kind of what, like I said. So, if y'all do want to add it to the agenda, I think Ellen does have the information. She can do that.
Yeah, we've got labels now. Me and Mark had talked about this Friday. one of the things, you know, I mean, my deal with it is, you know, you put 20 more thousand pounds on 80,000, you know, they won't allow you on the interstate like that.
Right.
You know, I mean, if they won't allow you on
See,
the
this
federal
would
highway, why
this
should we
would
allow them on the?
technically allow them, by the way it's written, it would allow them to exempt that, which puts federal funding at risk, because the federal government, if you allow greater than the 80,000 pounds, then the state's federal funding is at risk. So they said even a 1% penalty for allowing a 100,000-pound log truck on the road, that would, a 1% penalty would be like $47 million or something like that. So that far outweighs, as far as the state's concerned, far outweighs any benefit of a $25 million grant program. Wow. So, all right.
Are y'all in agreement to put it on there?
I am.
Okay.
I think that's okay.
So if we add that, the final couple of actions, I say actions, is things I want to bring to your attention, is we have some new rules and requirements going into effect for CDL driver training. We're required, as of today, anybody who gets their permit today or after, they're required to go to a CDL entry-level driver training. There is going to be a cost to that. It's not anything we can't, there's a process to where we can do it in-house. But we are not prepared for that at this moment. So we would have to pay to send employees to entry-level driver training. So I say we would have to pay, or they would have to pay. I think currently if an employee gets their CDL, they're responsible for their costs of obtaining the CDL. But this is probably another $2,000 to $4,000 cost to be able to get a CDL
Per employee?
Yeah, for
This
for
is
an
just for
employee.
new hires. The old ones are
if they have a
grandfathered.
CDL, unless they want to add some
Endorsements.
endorsements. Yeah, that was the word I was missing. So endorsements, they don't have to do it. But if they don't have their CDL, then and they're trying to get their CDL, they'll have to go through entry-level driver training. And so this would be an additional cost to a new hire. And my concern is that you hire somebody and in 6 months you tell them they have to get their CDL, and it's going to have that type of cost associated with it, and time off from work and everything else to be able to go. I think we need to try to put a policy in place to handle that, because that cost is more significant than just paying for a few tests and getting some on-the-job training now. So I do think that we need to look at some policies. I think there are some counties that their policy that they're potentially going to implement is that it's still the employee's responsibility, but if they successfully complete the CDL driver training and get their CDL, that they will reimburse them for the costs, but they have to remain with the county for 2 years. If they leave inside 2 years, then they would have it withheld from their final checks. So that's one policy. One policy is it's on them. So they're leaving it to where it's just on the employees. And then some counties are saying, we're going to take this on, but essentially they have to stay for a period of time because there's an investment that the county's making in them getting their license. So unless we want to become a training agency to where they just come in and get their license and then leave and go for another job, I do think that there would need to be some type of a time frame associated with them staying, especially with that type of an investment on for somebody's license. So those are some things to think about, like your input back on, so that we kind of have a direction on which way to go.
When's the starting date?
I started today.
Really?
Yeah, we kind of got the information
Well, it's
kind of
beneficial
late.
to already have your CDL license.
If you have your
apply
CD,
for a
or
job.
if you have your permit, if you have your permit prior to today, then you don't have to have your CDL driver training to complete getting your license. So I know that there were some that went and got their permits once they found that out, just to make sure that they had it.
Grandfathered in for so many months.
We live in an industry where trucking is in a country where trucking is already an issue, and you're going to add another.
And then one more issue within CDLs to try to make things even more complicated. There's a drug and alcohol clearinghouse. We're required to pull annually a query of all of our drivers to see if they have any drug or alcohol related charges or infractions against their licenses outside of state, anything to that effect. Everything goes into this clearinghouse. We're required to do that. There's there's some issues that we'll have to go through with that. One is that we don't have any approval to do that by the employee. We're required to receive approval by the employees to pull those. So I think we'll have to change our policy to, if you have a CDL, that you're essentially giving the county, as long as you're employed by the county, you're giving the county the ability to pull that short query, they call it, which we have to have just a written approval in their file. If anything comes back on that query, or if it's a new hire, there's what's called a long query that gives more detailed information. There's an electronic approval that they have to give, so they have to go on to the Federal Motor Carrier's website, create an account. They'll get an email that says we're trying to get this query. They have to approve it. We have to go through all those steps. So, like I said, a little bit of another squeeze on our CDL drivers. But I think there's going to be some policies or procedures we have to put in place. So,
One thing I'd like to see, and with this class for CDLs and all, I know Calhoun does a class.
I think they stopped.
They stopped. Okay, they don't do it anymore. I was just wondering, because sometimes we'll have 3 or 4 or 5 a year that we hire. That I wonder if we would be better off to contract with somebody to come in house and do a. I wonder if some of these other counties would go in, and contract with a. Like, I know, like we used to do water certifications and all, we would go to Huntsville or Madison or somewhere like that to do, all go together. I was, if we could.
Some type of cooperative.
Cooperative effort with, it looks like the ACCA would kind of come up with a cooperative plan like this, because this is going to be something that's going to affect every county in the state. I mean,
the
it's statewide.
ACCA is working with Auburn, their technology transfer organization at Auburn University. They are working with them to possibly develop a program. We just don't have any specifics on that. So we're kind of, like I said, we're kind of in limbo at this moment. So just so that everybody is aware, I know that our requirements for like an equipment operator 1 require you to get your CDL within 6 months. So there is this kind of limbo that we're in right now. If we were to hire an equipment operator 1 that doesn't have their CDL, that we might have to maybe make some exceptions or work with that, but I don't know. That's something that we kind of need.
Do you have the requirements to do it in-house, do the training in-house?
That's what the Auburn University is working on, is trying to come up with the curriculum. Federal Motor Carriers Administration has a curriculum, and so as far as like the actual information and the training session, that's what they're working on. But we have to train them, and there's so many items you have to cover within the training, and then they have to take a test and score at least 80% or greater on the test before they can actually go get their permit. And so there's those kinds of things that they're going to have to work on. So in the immediate short term, it will be difficult for an employee to get their CDL within our 6-month time frame. So we do have that issue that we may have to work on if we have any new hires that don't have their CDLs.
Does the Board of Education, do they have somebody comes in and does some training for them?
They're working on trying to come up with a plan themselves.
Okay.
Like we may even have to go through, like, I know they got to see they're backing the age down on some of the situation. The tech school might even could, we partner with them somehow, vents down there or something.
So,
Any of y'all got your CDL license?
I do.
I got them. You got them?
Nope.
Well, I guess us three will have to volunteer to drive dump trucks this winter.
Drive dump trucks this summer. So I know I have taken a while, but I will stop talking unless y'all have questions.
I know I kept my CDL license for some reason.
I did too.
Well, I got a Class A, so we're ready to roll, I guess.
Well, should you change your job description to require them before even hiring?
It's going to limit our pool pretty drastically.
I was thinking
it's
about
whatever direction y'all want to
Just
go.
asking,
I was thinking about like a deputy. All right, so we send the deputy
Yeah.
off and we train the deputy and
exactly.
we pay for the deputy, and then in 6 months they decide they want to go work for blank city
Huntsville.
police department.
Yeah. Pay them $10 more.
What do we do about? I mean, we can't recover that. I don't know how you would be able to do the same thing, because that's the exact same situation you'd be in. So you got a guy that comes works for you, drives a CDL. You make him pay for his stuff, where we don't make the deputies pay for their stuff, and then when he leaves, we're going to make him pay us back. I mean, I think the man sitting to your right there better be figuring out what's fair and where everybody gets the same
I
shake.
know there's a whole
Yeah.
lot of that's like I said, there's a lot of different approaches counties are investigating.
Yeah.
And like I said, I just wanted to bring the attention to you, or you guys to the attention of it. 'Cause, there's a lot of things that need to be thought about.
Drew, or something else for you to look at.
I need a driver in
Yeah.
the morning, by the way.
I'll be there. All right. I can do it.
I'm glad you looked that way.
You probably got Class A's too.
Class A's, yes, sir. Sure do.
Okay.
Any more discussion of anything with Mark?
I need to talk about Bowman Acres, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Now, as I understand it, Mark, Bowman currently does not meet our subdivision regulations,
they
but
have-
they have issued a bond.
They have one item that is not complete from what was originally submitted in the plans, and we have a bond, performance bond for completion of that work. Which
Can we start noting that when we present these, that they meet our requirements, or they've issued a bond? Can we note that in the future?
I can. I'm actually, we're working with Drew. We're trying to. That's one of the things that I would like to evaluate on our subdivision regulations is the performance bonds.
Okay.
In this case, but
This is
yeah,
the-
for the short term.
Okay, thank you. This is the one, Mr. Chairman, where the meter bases have washed across the road. Going through an 18-inch drain, we've got two 24-inch pipes and 4 to 6 ditches going across the road. Where there's supposed to be, correct me if I'm wrong, where there's supposed to be either retention or detention pond, the neighbors have already built fences in the,
That's the item that they've got the performance bond on.
right. I don't want that to go 12 months, that's what a performance bond gives them to get it done. The water's going across the road, we need to get that fixed. And this subdivision has been a foul ball from day one. I was sitting at my desk one day and I got a call from Bethel Church wanting to know what's going on. That we were going to extend the road, we were going to buy property from Bethel Church and extend the road.
Oh, we all got
The Limestone County was going,
That was an error. That was an error by the contractor.
and I think that was an error by the contractor.
And because the contractor in Athens City is required to put that sign up, and so they just kind of thought that sign would be required for us. So,
He was his agent.
yeah. So, like I said, so the contractor put it up. It was not in the plans to have that there.
Right.
But the contractor
Right.
put it up because in Athens City, he is required to put a sign like that.
So that street is just a dead end,
Yes.
correct? So a dead end should have a cul-de-sac. There's no future.
It has a hammerhead.
Right.
So
But there's no future road going through there.
unless somebody buys the property,
church.
if they buy it, then we would make them make that connection. But it
Unless
would be-
somebody buys the church.
yeah, whatever. I mean, it's a bean field there. Say if the church would decide to sell that bean field, then
So it's a dead end street.
at currently, yes.
Okay. So I think our subdivision is required dead end streets to have a cul-de-sac.
We have a hammerhead, which is an
We do.
alternative to the cul-de-sac turnaround.
What's the requirements for a hammerhead?
It's I can't remember exactly what it is, but but that's what's there.
Okay. But we took him off the agenda last week because he told you he was going to do something and he didn't do it.
And those have been corrected.
Okay. When are they supposed to start correcting this problem?
I don't know, but we have a bond on it, so,
So what happens if they fail on the bond? We have to go notify all those neighbors they got to tear their
it
tents down?
would be that we'd
We
have
have
to
to put
hire a
our
contractor.
effort, the
Yeah.
county has to take it up to do it for the developer.
That's what would have to happen. We'd have to hire a contractor and we'd have to cash out the bond. That's the way we handle any situation like that.
Can we vote on those separate, Mr. Chairman?
That's fine. We can take them up separate.
Okay.
Take each subdivision up separately.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Any more discussion with anything? No more discussion with anything. We'll move on to other business. First on here be to approve job description for building service worker for the maintenance and facility and grounds department. Any discussion with that? And the second thing on here be to approve job description for administrative assistant / case manager for the community corrections department. And that would be, what we're doing is we're combining Sheila's job with another job when Sheila leaves. So it's going to take two and make one. And then third on here will be to approve the staffing plan to reflect changes made under the community corrections and the under law enforcement. So, any discussion with that? We have no scheduled public hearings, report of officers. Commissioner Samet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to mention the fact that we're having trouble getting a lot of these culverts that we're selling to go in driveways. And I talked to the ladies that are collecting for these, and I told them to let these folks know, because a lot of times we don't know until they're already sold, which I know Mark's staff will be letting them know too, but it's getting to be a problem. I know we're about 20 behind right now.
All sizes or just the 15-inch?
All sizes.
All sizes.
They can't get the metal to build the culverts, is where they're having a
okay.
problem. So I just wanted to mention it to y'all, that I did mention to them that we are having a problem, and let folks know that it won't be like it has been until something changes at the culvert place, I guess. But that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Barksdale.
I would encourage everyone to call their senator and voice their opposition to Senate Bill 157, which is the logging bill that Mark was talking about. I'm pretty sure Senator Butler opposes it because it takes money from the Education Trust Fund. I don't know about Senator Meltson, but I would encourage the public to call their representative and voice their opposition. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Black.
All right, just a quick thing on housekeeping that I got. Each year when we have elections, you have people putting out campaign signs, and I want to remind everyone that it is against the law in Limestone County to put campaign signs in the right-of-way. You have to receive permission from the landowner to put the sign up. If you put it beside a stop sign, District 3 employees are going to pull it up. You can come pick it up at the shop. If it's a real estate sign and it's stuck there, we get it up too, because when we bush hog and when we go down through there, it's an eyesore and it's dangerous. The bush hog runs over a wire frame like that, slings it through the cab, slings it to somebody driving down the road. So if you're going to receive permission to put your campaign signs up, you can put them on private property. Public property, it's against the law. And if you see one of mine out there, you pull it up and tell me to come pick it up, because I didn't put it out. Somebody else did. So you just let me know, and this is not something I'm going to police like crazy, because it's, there's a lot bigger issues than that. But if my litter crew is going by and you got signs standing up all the way around the stop sign, unless that stop sign told you to put a sign up there, we're going to get it up. So I know we've always done that all the way across the county before. So,
Well, it's distracting too.
It's very distracting.
That stop sign's there for a reason.
and I mean the signs that say we buy houses, the signs that say yard sale. I mean, I get those up too. So I mean, it's not campaign people that we're after. It's just an eyesore, and we're supposed to be doing that, pulling them off of light poles and everything else. So
Well,
it's just an eyesore.
actually, they can be fined
Yep.
for putting them on utility poles.
Yep.
I agree with Mr. Black 100%. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bringing that up.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioner Townsend?
Man, I don't have anything at this time.
Thanks, sir. And I'd just like to thank everybody for coming. I'd like to thank Duke Energy for coming, and we will take this up in the next meeting. And thank everybody for being here today, and we will recess until 10 a.m., which is 16 minutes away. So.